If we finally got it. Oh, and of course now that video game wants to act up on me. Of course. Steam tells you to stop playing. It's like, I don't see it playing. Alright, so I'm recording this right now. My goal is, hopefully, I'm going to leave the broadcast up. And with any luck, while I am recording this, and I am not hearing myself in my headphones, you are not hearing an echo, but you are hearing the game. If all of those things are true, huzzah. 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 So let me go ahead and go back to my break, and hopefully the recording will tell me what I want to hear. If not, I don't know what to do. Steam tells you to stop playing. It's like, I don't see it playing. Huzzah. Huzzah. Not hearing an echo, but you are hearing the game. Alright, so I'm recording this right now. My goal is, hopefully, I'm going to leave the broadcast up. And with any luck, while I am recording this, and I am not hearing myself in my headphones, you are not hearing an echo, but you are hearing the game. If all of those things are true, huzzah. 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 So let me go ahead and go back to my break, and hopefully the recording will tell me what I want to hear. If not, I don't know what to do. Alright, so I'm going to... It looked like I heard... When I went through the recording, I heard sound clips. So I think it's working. I hope it's working. The question is it going to work on the stream, or was it just working on the recording? And what I did not verify was that it was just... Is it was working in the game as also, not just on the titles. So... Here we go. Now I've got the chat box overlay up, so if you're in the mood to chat, by all means, please feel free to go ahead and chat. I love to talk. If not, feel free to listen as always. I will babble to myself till the end of time, as always, because it's what I do. I entertain myself. I try and entertain you. You will have a good time. The only time I'm not having a good time is when just having to troubleshoot this nonsense when it's not making sense. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm hearing the volume. I'm hoping. I think I'm hearing the game. So please, if you guys are hearing me play and you're not hearing the game, please let me know. If you are hearing the game, if you can confirm that and let me know, I would actually appreciate that very much as well. Because one of the challenges I've made has been trying to get this thing, see if it's working and not being able to tell. Because it's one thing when you record something, you can kind of go back and see if it's working. When you're on the live stream, it's hard to tell if you're hearing the thing in the game or in the stream.
The Fawtick Bayou area has lost 63 acres of marshland due to saltwater intrusion.
Okay, this is the best place for me to confirm it. So I promise this is the last time I'm going to troubleshoot this, assuming it works, because I'll be able to know for sure if it works here or not. So let me, in fact, I just need to stop recording. I don't even need to end the stream. So I don't think. Yeah, because I just need to try. I'm just going to turn the in-game volume down for a second while I look at the recording and see if that actually, recorded sound. Gotta go back and see if it's working. Yes! Alright. It's a miracle. From my end, anyways. It's been a long day. I don't know why. It really hasn't. The day hasn't been that long. I always make it long. The problem is, I always tell myself I give myself plenty of time to get stuff fixed before things start, and I don't. But then when I give myself tons of time, I wind up waiting around doing nothing because it's like everything's good to go. I gotta find. I don't know. I gotta find a balance. All right, or maybe just make sure everything's fixed the night before. But then that's what I did last night. Yeah. Then the microphone crapped out on me. So I swear. Okay, enough complaining. We're playing. So where were we? I know I had mentioned I was going to do some of the grindy stuff, and I actually was, and started to, but I don't know. It's not as fun. It's not as fun when you don't have an audience playing a game like this. This is just the kind of game I don't know, at least for me, I enjoy playing with other people. If I were going to play a game by myself, I would play a much slower paced game. So, let's see. Where are we at? Alright, so we're still doing quests. We're still doing that. If I recall correctly, we kept getting killed by alligators last time we played. And that was not any fun because we started... I mean, I know I started on time, but it was such a rough start. I always plan to go at least 4 hours, so we'll call this a 7:30 start time for those of you who bared with me till I made it here. I appreciate it. So we'll go at least 8:30, 9:30, 12:30 or 1:30. I don't know. No, hopefully we're having a good time. We lose track of time anyways, and it doesn't matter. Because I guess if you're counting the time, you probably got bigger problems. Yeah, I didn't realize last stream. I know I knew I went a while, but holy crap, that last stream was like a 7-hour freaking stream. Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like it. I was having a blast. I was having a good time. Chilling, talking. People were coming in and out. I was just having a grand old time. Now, I admit towards the end I was kind of tired and getting ready to go, but then I wanted to hold out for TOIT. But I was still having a good time. But I had no idea I was on that long. So we've gotten some of the license plates. I said, I told you I'd stay away from doing some of these kind of harder, more grindy ones while I'm on. So let me take, if I see something that I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can give it a good effort. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll move on. But it does seem like the big roadblock right now to moving forward is simply leveling up and getting stronger. So we'll head northwest. Hey, I forgot we upgraded that, didn't we? Alright, we're a bull shark. So we're getting... I should have checked for upgrades next time. Next time we die, because I'm sure it'll happen again. I don't know though. Now that I'm not... I was getting kind of tired last time though, so now that I'm not quite so tired, I might start doing better killing those alligators too. Whee! Ah, missed. I still love the artillery strike. I mean, it's so like ridiculous. It's like so ridiculous. It's not even funny. But I still love the concept of. So what I'm liking is that, you know, I've kind of decided thinking about. So I'm going to consider us like this, not just an apex shark or an. We're like the Stephen Hawking's of sharks, you know. Like we're just that like we're not just any old shark. We're a shark with a human brain, you know, because we kind of are controlling him. So that's why we can do things like different, you know, think of more creative ways to go about solving our problems. Like using turtles as our artillery shells and our tail as the firing mechanism. Still not quite sure how our stomach is completely infinite in terms of what we can eat, but I was looking into sharks though. They apparently can eat quite a damn bit. Like in terms of like no matter like their stomach just like keeps like expanding and expanding and expanding. Like their body almost grows with their stomach or something crazy. Like kind of like goldfish. I was talking to somebody in chat about that in TYT one time about goldfish. And the goldfish will literally like they don't really have a maximum growth. I'm sure they do, but they're more fit to grow whatever their environment is. They'll grow into their environment. Like, I'm wondering maybe you get a Ramek. Unless we're supposed to come here way late in the game, that's just such a crazy. I mean, I don't see us hopping up there, as I said, in terms of the height. I mean, land-wise, that's a long way to be hopping around on land to get up over there. All right, yeah.
The bull shark cannot live out of water for hours at a time.
That would be pretty weird. Alright. Let's head east. Or west, right? Yeah, west. I don't know why I keep saying east. Oh yeah, yummy. So, if I recall correctly, I know we upgraded it at least twice. I'm trying to remember if we did 3 times, but I do know we've upgraded our radar a few times, and we've gotten our artillery. Where's our artillery? And I know we upgraded so we get resources faster. So I'm going to stick with the whole long-range artillery fire concept here, because yeah, I'm ready to kind of move on to bigger and better things. This has been fun, messing with the alligators all around. They were like right there. See, this one. I mean, I'm not nuts, right? Like they were like. Yeah, that's the one thing. Okay, so I get that small fish kind of come and go, but when you got a big ass alligator, they don't like this whole spawning in and out. Sort of a major threat to just kind of disappear. Alright. If anybody from TYT wanted to shout out, let me know too. I got some stories. Got some stories to tell, to share, but I don't think anybody but TYT members are going to appreciate these ones. Okay. So what I was hunting for was that those alligators. But I guess now we're just chomping. So I'm trying to get, so I'm going to be going for some of these bonus stuff because, as I said, they seem to be worth a lot of points. Get over there! Get over there! Oh, well that one's high up too. Or is that the same one? Did I just go backwards? So I don't know if you, for those of you who were here last time, this was my biggest complaint last time. It's so easy to get turned around. Now, unless you're on the surface, I guess, but I don't know. I just hate the idea of going everywhere on the surface. I wish they'd done more to make a. They do a lot to help you map out where you're going on. Like if you just glide around on top like this. I wish they'd put more effort into making it easier to know where you're at on the bottom. Because I don't know, you're a shark. You know, so you're supposed to be underwater. Right? Hit and run, baby. Oh! Man, I hate it when they do that. Okay, you will be food. And the next one will be artillery. Ah! That is one agile alligator. I tell you what. Where is he? See, like, ah! What in the world? I'm getting my butt kicked by an alligator. Which, well, that's been happening. That's not new. That's not the part that's new. It's just the. I mean, I thought it kind of had them at least. I had figured I was at a point where I was at least putting up good fights at this point. Oh, hey, is that thing actually attacking the alligator, not us for once? That's a pleasant surprise, if true. I can't tell if it's attacking the alligator or if it's just missing us, though, is the problem. Oh, thank you. Jeez Louise. Food. More food. Hey, really? Those things are worth more. Oh, well, I guess I keep forgetting the alligator comes and, yeah, where's the target? That's what I'm looking for. Destroy the target. Where is the target? There he is. So, yeah, what I've been trying to hunt down now are more like the mission quest. And I'll admit, I get distracted. There's, like, always these little shinies everywhere that I want to kill. Alright, yeah, see, there we go. See that? Ah, that's how you're supposed to do it. Oh, whoa, that's not how you're supposed to do it. Ooh. Man, get away from me. I want a bite. See, I want a bigger bite. Like, we do alright, but... See, ooh, this... Oh, I'm not dodging. Yeah, I got out of the habit of dodging. I need to get back into the habit of dodging. So, there we go. I don't know how many you remember me talking about from last time also, but yeah, see what I mean? So, like, you know, I haven't played in a week, which, you know, in and of itself isn't a big deal, but you haven't been playing other games, so you start, your muscle memory starts getting back into other games, and then, you know, it's not a huge deal, but you could say, but it's a great example of how, you know, just takes getting a little out of practice with one game, playing another game, and for something that's high reflex like this, it can be a big deal. Now, if you're talking a strategy game or something, it's just a kind of like, you know, a little more slow, it's not that big a deal. But something like this, though, it can really throw you off. Ow! Seriously? Damn! Dude, don't play. He just slammed me. Oh, he is eating me for lunch. Whew. Yeah, I need to use my radar more for food, but whew, homeboy was like, nah. You're not coming to my house. Like, I want to come to your house, but I don't think he's letting me in. I need to get around him though, but I'm worried if I try and get around him, I'm going to wind up being screwed. All right, well at least I got that.
A group of consenting adults wants to perform cryptic rites to shadow forth the prophecy of the great old ones. Who invited you?
Exactly. As long as they ain't hurting anybody. Which brings us to Joe Manchin. He can do whatever the hell he wants with his wife. Until she starts whipping and doing whatever to keep him from voting for the Medicare negotiations and telling him not to pass the bill. Then we have a problem. Which, for anybody who's aware of what I'm talking about, I speculate. I like to speculate when it comes to these things. I would never do that to just any old body, or even just somebody in power who, was being a reasonable person. But at some point, and I am perfectly willing to put my own reputation at risk and people's opinions of me if I can draw a connection between him and me and my connection with BDSM. And yeah, sure, I've got reason to believe it. It's not all untrue. I've got reason to believe that some of this stuff is true. I just don't have a hard connection. It's like we were talking with Nina Turner the other day. The person who wins is the one who figuratively bleeds, or is willing to figuratively bleed. And if it's for the right reason, I'll sacrifice almost anything. Most certainly my pride. Oh, run, 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 run. Ooh, we found, oh, all right. So I see they do get less aggressive once they because I just realized he didn't chase us quite as far, did he? Now I don't know if it's because I went further out or what, but it does seem he backed off a lot quicker. To me, anyways. Alright, and while I like having good health, I'm also realizing, well, as great as it is to have good health, it also means that it looks like getting health. Oh, well, I see the turtles don't give good health. That's what it is. These groupers get a lot more health, which leads me to believe maybe it is. I was just kind of joking last, thinking about their turtles being better at like artillery fire at these things, as crazy as it is, but maybe it legit is. Maybe they are actually better suited for that, doing that. Maybe that is kind of their purpose. Groupers are food. Oh, that's not the one we were after, motherfucker. You know what? I don't even care. I'm like, no mercy, dude. Yeah. I don't. At this point, yeah. There's a little tiny alligator screw strategy. I'm just going for him. Whoa, is that the big one? No. Alright, well, it was working. Alright, so it looks like you do a lot more damage if you stun them first, too. So it's not just about stunning so they can hit back. I do remember kind of noticing that last time, but you also do twice as much damage, which is no joke. Whew! That was close. He almost got me. I was almost dead. But almost is only almost. Yummy. Alright, that was nice. Okay, those alligators built me some confidence, but they didn't give a lot of health, though. And frankly, relative to before, they're not that experience wheel isn't going up all that high that fast either. Now here's the question: does this little bad boy get all his health back, or is he still? Still not a lot of food, is it? Is this a different one? I don't remember that thing there. And did he get his health back? Okay, good. He did not get his health back. That part is good. Bad part is we're not exactly sitting pretty right now either. Where'd all our food go? Okay. Alright, yummy. Yeah, that catfish should... Okay, good. It was level 3 catfish. That should... Now, as long as his health hasn't gone up and I can maybe get a turtle or something. At least, okay, good. At least something to stun him. I think I'll be alright as long as his health didn't go back up. Whew! Dude's tail ain't no joke. Oh, neither is his bite. Ow. Whew! That was rough, but we got him. Yum. Alright, what's next? Any of these license plates, do we think we can get them? That's it. I already know I went off on a tangent about it. I don't know who from last time, which is I hate platforming in games not designed to be platformed. And this is one of those instances. Alright, I don't even know. Are we going to make this? What's going to happen with this? We're about to find out. There. Ooh. Just make it, just make it. Okay, well the good news is we got the thing. The bad news is, are we gonna make it to water? I don't know. Oh, we almost made it, but almost doesn't count. If I had caught the, if I had gotten it the first time through, if I'd realized, if I figured out how to jump on it the first time through, we'd have made it.
The Cajuns that fish and trap here don't use depth finders or GPSs. They know this bayou by heart.
It's actually pretty impressive. Not that that sounded really retarded when you know the first part of. Yes, I know they don't use depth charges and stuff. So yeah, that was some snarky start on his part. I meant if it's true that they know it so well that they don't have to use any kind of like tracking techniques or.
Hunters and animal predators alike. The bayou is revered for its wildness and generosity.
So we did make it all the way over here. Just a reminder, which we can fast travel for. I'm just trying to. I at least want to kill some of these alligators. And I don't even. Did we ever? Have we explored up north yet? I don't even know. All right, west, east, south. Wish there was a way to zoom that compass out a little more, because quite frankly, I'd rather it be, I'm more interested just in what the general direction is I'm going. I don't need it that detailed. Because it doesn't, unless it's going to provide more detail. Seem like they're worth it. Is it just me, or is it the turtles seem different? Nope, that was just me. Seemed like a cool looking turtle at first, but just a normal old turtle. Underwater housing. There you go, underwater housing. It's literally underwater. Oh, phew. I was actually about to ask, did I remember my coffee? And I had the other one, but I didn't. That was not. But you thought I didn't see that? I saw him. I was being sneaky. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. I don't know if I've ever actually been up northeast on this part of the bayou, so I'm kind of just curious. Maybe I have. I'm wondering, or maybe I killed everything up there and just forgot. That's also a distinct possibility. So let's head this way, north. I think we're just gonna stay on the surface. I'm starting to realize that if there's anything interesting underwater, they'll tell me, which in some ways is nice, in some ways just kind of takes the fun out of it. Dun dun dun. How many points are these groupers giving, anyways? I'm just wondering if they're worth chasing down or not. 23. I mean, if they're convenient, I wouldn't say they're worth chasing down. Because the reason I'm asking is the more blubber we get, the quicker we get to upgrade our skin again to then get more resources faster. Whoa! Hello, alligator. Is it just me, or he at least seemed to kind of come out of nowhere? I'm not saying he did. He appeared to. Maybe, oh, you know, I always thought that those things are always attacking me. Apparently they aren't always attacking me. The little ones is what I'm referring to.
To be honest,
I
found that shark a little hard on the eyes.
Man, it's so close. His bite got me before my bite. I think I might just get one more level up. The alligators aren't becoming too much of a challenge, but if I take them, yeah, just enough that I gotta really take them seriously, even the level 8 ones. I think if I just need a bit stronger bite, a little bit faster, I think we'll be okay. Yummy. So the thing about games like this, the map's not really that big. They just use this kind of maze-like thing to make it seem a lot bigger than it is, which I'll admit I kind of find that kind of stuff a bit annoying too. I love Skyrim. I still do, but I find when they make things bigger by just making you have to making getting from point A to point B a pain in the butt that it didn't need to be. Like, I don't mind if you have this, I don't know. I don't like maze-like things. I just want to be able to travel there and get there. I don't want to have to be. I don't want to have to go through this like windy, freaking like snake-like, crazy. Basically, Skyrim. I'm babbling. I'm sorry, but so there's this huge mountain in the middle, and there's all this terrain, and there's mountains and hills everywhere. So the point on the map might literally just be like right next to you. But to make the place seem and feel bigger than it is, in order to get right next to you, you got to go through all, like, go up and down and do all this windy stuff, and it's just annoying. And especially since you have fast travel anyways, so it's not like once you've gotten there you can't fast travel there in the future. Still a great game though. I love Skyrim. Whoa! Did not see him coming. Did you see that? I ain't gonna lie, but he scared the bejesus out of me because I didn't see him. First thing I saw him was this freaking giant jaws trying to eat me. Yeah, so it's that little fish that's stunning him. I always thought the little fish was attacking me at the same time. I guess I'm not saying it's not also attacking me, but apparently it was going after the shark too, or the alligator, which I think I remember complaining last time thinking it wasn't, so apparently it was, so that's nice. All's fair in love and war, right? Alright. Let's get some food. Like, can be why does that one level 1 thing give me a bunch of health and another give me hardly any? That kind of stuff kind of confuses me too. Jeez Louise. Whew. Yummy. Alright. But not at all where I wanted to be. This is the ironic part. Alright. See, I get into these killing these alligators things thinking there's something special, and really, I mean, they're just tougher creatures, but they're just gonna keep spawning, and all I'm ultimately doing is grinding. Even though it's a fun grind, it's still a grind, so it's time to move on. What is he doing? Move. Alright. I feel like I used to swim faster. Oh, because I wasn't holding the shift key, okay. What the heck was that? Weird. Whoa! What are those things? Is that just decoration? Where's the people? Whoa! Oh, hey, little bastard. Yummy. Ooh! It's kind of fun. Okay, wait. Just running around murdering stuff is kind of fun too, without getting murdered in return. Did we get it? Alright. It doesn't seem, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's worth quite as much anymore. I guess this is technically a level 1 area, isn't it? So maybe I'm not doing myself any favors sticking around here. And it's just my OCD, just once again getting the better of me. What's in here? We've been here before. Is this where we started? Because this is where the big battle was. And then we wound up in here, so no, I don't think so. Why does it have a feeling, though, there's going to be some sort of equivalent of a boss battle in here? It's just, it has that look to it. That feel. That kind of like arena type feel, you know what I mean? Da-da-dee-da-da-da.
Sound travels 4.5 times faster in water, a fact beneficial to both hunter and prey.
Interesting. Ooh, what is this? I don't know why I'm doing this. So I've just kind of gone into pure, like, stop looking at the map, exploratory mode.
A local critic once wrote that Amos Beauregard was the Rodin of the Bayou. But Beauregard was functionally illiterate and had no idea...
No, for anybody who doesn't know, TY2, too strong coffee. Too strong. There you go. I know it's not Christmas, I still use it every day. I got my 3 favorite mugs. I got my Too Strong mug, my Lucky Max Corner mug, which actually doesn't say Max Corner, it's just my Lucky mug. I'm Irish, it's kind of been a, I don't know, the clover's been a thing, part of my, ever since my childhood, like a kid, it's been part of my core identity, for lack of a better word.
We are constantly reminded of how man's intrusion has disrupted the fragile equilibrium of the marine world.
Alright, so exploration is important. Alright, so I was kind of like, well, did they just show you where everything is on the map? And the answer is no. You've got to use your radar, you got to explore. And this is making me definitely glad. At first I was a little hesitant about the radar, now I'm definitely glad we did the radar. Because it looks like the radar is key to helping you find stuff. Because look, now we're seeing all this question mark stuff that we would not have seen otherwise. Oh, get out of there, what are you doing? There we go. Yeah, okay, see, finding these treasure chests is way easier now than they were before. I've gone from being very hesitant, to very glad that we put the resources in it. Because not only does it see a bunch farther, we can use it a lot more often now, too.
Larger maximal sizes through selective feeding.
Larger maximum sizes through selective feeding. You say feeding or breeding? I missed that. I wouldn't think they'd be smart enough to selectively breed. And when it comes to feeding, I thought they just kind of ate everything.
Someone should have taken a gun safety class.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh man, that's fucking hilarious. This is why even as a progressive, I love this thing. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here. Someone should have taken a gun safety class, right? So we know it was a gun accident. We can already get off the top of the. You can already figure that the dude here in the middle accidentally shot his buddy's head off in the back, and he was on the motor, so he was the one driving. So when he lost his head, he went out of control. So I'm assuming that's what that caused him to wreck. But I'm wondering if there's any other... Well, what's the other part of this story, though? Was it a pure mischarge? That's kind of enough of a story. But were they trying to avoid something? I'm just curious. I feel like the story's a little more complex than even that. But even that's kind of funny. So you walk over, they said, yeah, yeah. Anyways, I've already explained the story once. I won't say it again. If you really want to hear it again, you can read about it. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It's a little commentary like that that's making me love this game. Oh yeah, we just leveled up too, didn't we? I need to figure out if we are we still a teen, or do we level up into something else? And oh, nice! It looks like we're stunning with our tail now, which I don't think we were doing before. Whoa! That was a. His tail seems to be a lot quicker than ours, and I don't know why. Alright, come here, turtle, turtle. Whoa! Yeah, I should have used you as artillery instead of food. I don't know, I'd rather have my health, I think, right now. Yeah, that should be good. Nice! Yummy! Where'd the food go? Oh, are we big enough now where we can eat them all in one gulp? That would be kind of nice. Oh, and we're big enough now where they can't. Those little guys can't escape anymore. That's good. That's kind of nice. And I think we're not having to eat the alligators in chunks anymore. Man, but how is it these alligators? Maybe I'm just getting too arrogant once again, as always. And I need to go back. See, you know, we've got tactics that we know we can use, that we know work. Our artillery turtle shells, and I'm still just heading at them straight on. All right, you're a turtle, turtle. You turtle, turtle. Oh, I didn't want to eat you though. Well, that's kind of cool. I like the weather effects. Where'd that oh, there it is. At least one. I think there are two. Let's see. So are we up there, or are we hopping up? Are we breaching again? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. I mean, I could try breaching. I don't know if the water's I don't know if the water's deep enough. Might have to come back for this one, which sucks. See, stuff like this, too. I mean, I get what it makes sense in RPGs, right? I don't know if it makes so much sense in the games. I guess this is causing. It's like I feel like we could eventually get it. We're just not big enough yet, or I'm doing something wrong. That's possible too. What would be another technique? What would be something else we could do? It really is sitting kind of like right in the middle of there, just teasing me. Alright, so it's gonna make us get up on there somehow. Oh! It doesn't always show us underwater stuff, so what if there's a lock system maybe? No, or is it just... Maybe there's a way to make the water levels rise? Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Alright, well, we'll have to come back for that one later. At another day. Ah, great. I was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, okay, it's a grate. Well, grates have tended to be kind of useful. They've tended to have some pretty decent XP and treasure in them, so sure. What's down here? What will we find? The level 6 groupers are pretty nice. There were some pretty good moolah. I mean, 46 for just a quick chomp each ain't too shabby. I think we need 12,000 to upgrade the bull shark again. Make getting resources even quicker. Nice.
Has 0 atoms, so the shark doesn't have to worry about hidden artificial colors or flavors.
Okay. I suppose that does make sense. Oh yeah, that's quite the meal. Oh yeah, this is a grouper fest. Yeah, I'm glad we found this place. Oh yeah, that's a lot of points and whatever, blubber or whatever they're calling it. Yummy. Yummy. Albino. See, that's these albino ones of the different versions are where we're getting this green stuff from, which, as I said, I think I mentioned last stream, is it looks like that's going to be the ultimate limiting resource. It's going to be the one we're not going to be able to just really want to get something and be able to grind it, even if we want to. It's my guess so far, anyways. But it's just a guess. Alright, and for what I'm doing, I'm just looking at, looking really for the level 6 groupers. I mean, the level 1s are fine, but they're, I'll take them, but they're, well, 23 is not bad. I guess I'm focusing too much on level. 46 is better, but still some good eating. It's a lot of good eating in a small amount of space. Yummy! Hey, what's up, Knight Rider? How you doing? Hey, you're the first person I can chat with, so I got some questions, hopefully, so I can make sure everything's okay. 1, can you hear me okay? 2, can you hear the video game? And if you have noticed any other issues, please let me know, because I think there might be some, but I can't tell because of the stream. Or if everything's great, that's great news to me, so let me know that too. Awesome. That makes me very happy. I had some issues. So what happened was, it was about 30, 45 minutes before the stream started. My daughter came in and was like, "Oh, I was messing with your microphone earlier." And I had the one for my headset. It had a little plug-unplug thing, and she was using it for something. And she dropped it in, she said water, or I don't know what she dropped it in. But anyways, needless to say, it didn't work. So I was like, "Oh, crap." But I wound up having this older microphone from back in the day, from before I wound up getting in trouble. Which, if you've seen my YouTube vids, I've got one on. It's the 15-minute one, like I think the second or third one I had done recently. We're gonna talk about where I had gotten in trouble and being an alcoholic and PTSD and all that stuff. Anyways, if you're interested, you can watch the video. But anyways, I got it right before I got in trouble. and then they would never wind up using it and had forgotten all about it. And then luckily just happened to be like, oh yeah, I've got this thing. So problem is I think if I recall correctly, it had like a whole sound system attached to it. It was actually like a really expensive microphone, but I don't think any of the rest of it's left. So it's just like the actual mic, but not the actual like rest of the system. But it works. But it doesn't have a mute button, which is weird. I'm not used to a microphone not having a mute button. But anyways, I'm babbling, but I guess that's sort of my job. So how are you? You holding up all right? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no rush, man. No rush. It's a lot of political stuff. I'm going to keep most of my gaming and kind of more laid back stuff here on the stream, and then I repost the streams there. What I do wind up posting there that's just going to be just there is going to be a lot more like, you know, serious and specific. I mean, not that it's not worth watching. It's definitely worth watching, but it's going to be a lot, you know, I mean, it's not going to be like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be like spitting into the camera and stuff or nothing like that. I'm not an Alex Jones, but you know, it's a little more intense. It's a little more designed to get into the deeper political stuff in a more lecture, educational type environment. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm actually, I'll be honest, I'm kind of curious to see how it goes, because it's gonna with the YouTubes, because I'm taking an approach of treating people like they're smart and wanting to learn, and you know, just really interested to learn. And I don't want that to come off wrong, but then I also got to remember though. So I've made some pretty long videos, and I'm getting feedback that people probably don't want to watch videos that are that long. Yeah, basically. Just the verbal version of that. You know, but then I got to remember too that, you know, people work. They don't got 2 hours to listen to me pontificate about stuff. So, but I like making them, and it's still easy. You know me, I love to talk and state my opinion. And it's still easier to freaking talk than it is to write, as much as I love to write. So, you know, I put it out there. It's out there for anybody who wants to, who's interested. Anybody who's not, it's okay. Or when people have the time, or they can watch 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. But what I tried to do, especially after the first few were a little bit more snarky towards Ben Shapiro, but starting at the last one I did with Ben Shapiro, I really tried to get more into the education piece of it, talking economics, really getting in, pulling out graphs, and really getting down to the nitty gritty about it. And that's the kind of more caliber level stuff I want to do moving forward. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's face it, most people, myself included, I mean, I enjoy reading. I'm one of the rare people who like reading. I like reading, and even I'm only going to sit down and read so much. Because I can pop in a video about somebody talking about something, and I can like play a video game and listen in the background. Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. Hey, I'm always interested in I'm talking to you and also trying to figure out I forget how to get the heck out of here too. I gotta figure that out too. Let's see. Let me go to fast travel, because I forget how to get out of the grotto now. Well, let me just explore a little more while I'm talking, then I'll figure it out. I'm talking about the video game at this particular second. So what was I saying? Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. And oh yeah, where I was going is, and anytime you ever have any feedback, you know, and honestly, negative feedback, the most important, please let me know. I always believe in wanting to improve, and I don't get my feelings hurt if people tell me something to work on. I see it as a way to get better. So if you're ever really going in there and you're seeing stuff like, I wish, you know, this is bugging me, or it'd be so much better this way, I want to know. Because at the end of the day, I think you were there. My ultimate goal with the channel is to start empowering more and more progressives, to create a space for both progressives to go, and God help us if we can actually convince some, or not, I don't say convince the wrong word, because that sounds like we're tricking them. If we can actually help educate some of these other people on the right that they are being played, and bring them on board. And just kind of start building a more informal community. You know, TYT's got a very formal community, and there's some more formal communities. There's something more a little informal that can start getting the progressive movement educated and just kind of out there on the internet and in person. That would be cool too. I know that whenever they start organizing in person again with TIT, I'm definitely going to start getting back out there. The only reason I never did it in the past is even when I planned to, I'd always get drunk and miss it, or I would know that I'd drink and didn't want to show up drunk. But now that I don't drink anymore, I'm excited to be able to go and be sober and participate. So you said you had a nice relaxing Saturday. That's good to hear. Any kind of big plans or just chilling? Yeah, me too. And I'm fortunate now where I've got the freedom and the monetary ability to go anywhere. Really, maybe not all the time. So I'm pretty open with people about it. So I'm not like fucking like multi-millionaire rich in the sense that I've got multi-millions sitting in a bank, but I've got rental money that comes in from rental property that's been paid off. So I don't owe money on it anymore. I've got some stock stuff, but the real benefit for me comes from that and then my military retirement. In order to make the money that I make in my military retirement, in order for a civilian to make that as passive income, not working, they'd have to have about $10 million sitting in a bank account. So it's not that I have $10 million sitting in a bank account. It's that in order to make the amount of money I make each month, factoring with the cash, I don't pay taxes on it and all this stuff. To make the equivalent in cash income I make in the civilian sector every month, without working, a civilian would have to have about $10 million sitting in a bank account, if not more. Probably more, depending on because bank accounts aren't actually. They have to be way more. Because what are bank accounts giving interest now? Even on a lot of money, they're not giving jack shit, are they? Yeah, always chase your. I mean, that's the key thing too. Is I've never chased money. That's I can say that from the bottom of my heart. I have never chased money. Now, I've done things with the goal of making money, and even out of college doing real estate. Like, yeah, one of the goals is to make money, but I loved real estate. I've always loved real estate. Real estate's always fascinated me. I love the concept of owning property. So it's not really that I love the concept of getting rich off real estate. I just love real estate as a business, as a concept. Land. I mean, as creatures, we. I think there's something about land ownership that's just inherently instinctual towards us, and I like the idea of owning it. That goes well beyond just like how much rental income I can get. I just like the idea of having it belong to me, which I guess is very primitive. I know it's a very primitive way to look at it, but it's the honest way I look at it. Which is why I never really have gotten much into stocks. I don't do stocks much because I don't understand the concept of owning a percentage of a company that isn't, that just does stuff. It's weird to me. Exactly. That's what's really fascinated me about my generation, Gen X and younger, and our generation and younger. See, programming, man, I wish I could do that. I have so many ideas, but I do not have the patience to program. Programming is just too much. Like, one of these days, you and I should sit down and talk. And I'm just kind of curious what kind of stuff you do. I'm gonna pay you to do some minor stuff in terms of just to see minor little projects for ideas I have, just to kind of test the waters or something. Because I can't program worth shit, and I've tried to learn. I've made the most basic of all basic video games one time. I mean, I'm talking the little thing can move and shoot, and it can shoot stuff that blows up, but that's it. And I mean, the hit detection boxes were crap. I mean, when I say I made a video game, I just mean a college, what do you call it? Like a programming 101 course video game. Is what I'm talking about. The kind of thing you go learn to make at a college for your first year at school. When they tell you how to put code together. And even that little bit drove me nuts. It just wasn't my thing. So when I meet people who really have a passion for it, they actually fascinate me because it tells me that's somebody who's very different than me, because they're interested in something that I just love conceptually but never could do myself. Oh, awesome. Bet she's an ex-girlfriend. She be ugly. You could be living off her. Are you guys still get along well and stuff, or not so much anymore? If I ever ask any questions that are too personal, let me know. You know, if or anything you just don't want to answer on stream, let me know. I'll save it for later. And what kind of and I meant to ask you, what kind of music do you? Is it all? Nice. Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, who knows? Maybe you're not interested in getting back with her. And the Lord knows, I got no idea. But hey, as long as you stay in touch and stay friends, I say never. I always say never wait for the future. This is what I tell people when it comes to any kind of relationships or anything. Never wait for the future, but never make decisions that will burn bridges either. Just So you say house club, you more like DJ, R&B, more kind of like soft rock, that kind of stuff? Is that kind of more like heavy with a beat, or more kind of like light? Oh, dance music, okay. So I imagine it's got a pretty good beat to it then. EDM, I'll have to look that one up. Can you just type out what EDM stands for? I'm not familiar with the acronym.
Sometimes even sharks just need to dirty ball.
So I was laughing at the game, not you. But I was laughing at the game, not what you wrote, by the way, or the thing. Oh, I like electronic dance music, at least the kind that I grew up on, or you learned in Germany. So, a lot of my kind of younger cultural stuff came from when I was in Germany. But it's so it's so varied. I grew up on so many different. I see. My dad was in the army too, so I grew up. I moved. What I consider normal is like there is no normal. But when I was in Germany, that's when the song "I'm Blue" first came out. I was in Germany, in Würzburg, when that came out. That was playing like freaking everywhere. Luftballons, 99 Luftballons. So when I think electronic music, that's what I'm thinking. So is it that kind of stuff, or is it something different? Well, so most, yeah, I'd love to hear that kind of, man. I'd love to like listen. If you like shit, like I don't know, sometime off stream, or if there, I'll send you my email. Just shoot me a message, and I'll shoot you an email whenever I get the chance. I'd love to like listen to examples, and we can figure out a way to like. I'd love to give you, find a way to get you exposure. Not that it's so funny because I'm acting like I have like tons of exposure to give you when I have none. No, it's not like. But whatever little I have, I would be more than happy to share with you. We'll put it that way. And I'd love to listen to it and see, I bet it's something I like, because I've always loved like that kind of music. I said like Luftballons and I'm Blue. But if you're taking it and adding some actual like some more soul to it, I think I'd love it. Because one of my biggest complaints about modern music is it all sounds great. Like modern music is very appealing to the ears, like. I mean, sure, but it doesn't feel like it has any like any kind of heart to it at all. It's just kind of like it's like somebody put it through like some sort of computer system, and it came out the other side sounding perfect. but there's no like substance to it. Like you listen to the original, you know, American Pie, and you know, it didn't sound perfect, but it felt perfect, you know? Oh wow, nice. You actually put some of your music is in GTA? No shit. That's awesome. Oh, you gotta tell me which ones too. So I've which one's GTA 3? Is that the one with Nico? I'm trying to. So I have beaten the one with Nico, but I think that's 4. Which one's the San Andreas? That's the one I just started playing. So GTA 1 I never played at all. That's the one with the car, right? That wasn't even real GTA. Vice City I never really got into. I started playing San Andreas, but then I forget. I think I was deployed or what. Something happened in my career, and I took a pause. And by the time I got around to being able to play GTA, the next one was out. So I just went on to the next one. Yeah. So and then I have not played 5 yet. But I have San Andreas, so I need to go back and play it. Is it, so I guess 2 questions with San Andreas. One, do they have an updated graphics version? And if they do or they don't, is it still playable, or is it so, like, old that it's not worth playing? The reason I'm asking is now that you tell me you got music in it, now I'm, like, freaking interested to go back and play and, like, and kind of see if I can, like, you know, figure out which one and stuff. Okay, yeah, I'm very familiar with how they do the music in the games. Yeah, so SFUR, all right. Whoa, I got the shark, or I got the alligator? That never happens. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just, like, I've never actually. Usually it's the alligator freaking eating me and thrashing me around in its mouth, not the other way around. That's the first. Okay, sorry. Oh, yeah, either way, I'll check it out, man. If nothing else, to listen to your music. Is it available all game, or only during, like, you have to get to a certain point in the game? And don't tell me which song yet. I'm gonna listen, and I'm gonna try and kind of pick out the ones that I'm liking. And before you tell me, I'm gonna like say, like, I'm gonna kind of see. Okay, cool. So all I need then is a car, which I think you still get pretty early in those games. Shit, maybe I'll play some maybe I'll play some online. Play some San Andreas online. That might be kind of fun to do sometime. Or stream it, I mean.
The ocean is governed by the same cruel laws that rule the jungle.
So one of the things I've been doing, which I'm trying to force myself to get out of the habit of, is I've been doing too many MMOs recently, and I don't know why. I think it's because of the pandemic and trying to be around people again. But the problem with MMOs, they're so grindy, you get stuck on them, and then you wind up just getting trapped in them and not getting out of them. So that's another thing I'm kind of hoping to accomplish with streams is being around people in a different way. I don't necessarily need to be using MMOs as an outlet for being around people like I kind of been using, because they're really not that great. Honestly, as games, MMOs as games kind of suck. It's just nice to meet people there with them. So I bring all that up to mention that, yeah, I want to get into more variety and doing something like San Andreas, and maybe talking about it, like your music on stream. If I ever actually, if we ever actually get more people on, that might be kind of cool, you know. Whoa! Booted his ass. Oh yeah, and I'm loving how I don't have to eat the little beats of the alligator anymore either. Sorry, yeah, so I talked about the game there too. One thing I love about this game is I literally, like, I love the kind of, this part of the bio is, the bio part's not really that pretty. That's why I want to get the hell out of here. When you first started playing, the ocean was very pretty. And then you kind of have this relaxing moment, and then you just have these moments where it actually does feel kind of terrifying when you're under attack, and it can get pretty exciting. But anyways, because of the announcer, okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. Do that then. That's cool. Yeah. Hey, whatever works best. I'd love to listen to it. So is it? Do you sing with like a band? Is it just you singing? Do you sing? Do you just do the? Is it just the instrumentals? Oh, you mean you never played? Wait, that's actually funny. Wait, hold on. Now I'm starting to develop an understanding. Wait, so you've done music for the game, if you've never played the game? That just realized me what you were saying. It just hit me what you were saying. Gotcha. But you also do sing your own music too. Is what you're saying? It's just so wait. I want to make sure I'm clear because at first I just figured you just knew the game and played it and you were a gamer, and now I'm starting to realize wait. So no, you did the music for the game, but you've never actually played the game. That's fucking hilarious to me. Oh, okay, you did play it a couple times. All right. It's still actually kind of funny for me because my ego is such, man. If I had music in a video game, I'd just beat it on principle. Really, hell yeah, I'm in this game. That's all. That's awesome though. Yeah, I'm a horrible artist at everything. Music, singing, drawing. Art is one of my core weaknesses. That and foreign languages. That's why you play. Yep. It's funny. Whoa, what is that? That's something. Oh, that was my chail. I'm not used to having such a big chail. I saw a chail chasing me. I was like, whoa, what's chasing me? And I was like, oh, that's my own shark tail. I guess we are getting kind of big. When you get scared of your tail chasing you instead of chasing your own tail, I guess we are growing up in the shark world. Alright, let's see. We'll kill this thing maybe. For the most part, I've noticed I'm no. All right, so let me be careful. I don't want to come off like I think like I'm some kind of expert or think I'm some kind of expert because I don't. But from my anecdotal observations, it seems to be most people, even if they're very good at both, they tend to be better at one or the other. And the ones who really find success to the point of making money pick one and excel at it.
The best thing to do is stay with your canoe and die the death of an honorable sea.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the. He said, "Stay to the death of an honorable." Okay, sorry. Some of the stuff in this game, I don't know why, it just cracks me up. Just the sheer sarcasm of it. Some kind of is that a? Would you call what I just said to be an accurate or fair thing to say, or do I have it wrong? Gotcha. Ooh, treasure. I like me my treasure.
Mutagen 23 is certainly heating up the evolutionary arms.
Why does it keep doing that? See, I've started noticing even for whatever reason about this game, when I play in the game, it still moves the mouse cursor in the background. And it starts doing funny stuff with chat, so the chat box, which is supposed to be an overlay on top. So just a heads up, if somebody said something in chat, like the last 10 seconds, I might have missed it. Just a heads up, 10-15 seconds. Last thing we were talking about was people needing to master one, and you agreeing that someone needs to master a skill. Oh, he was one. I didn't even realize he was one of the special fists. Yeah, he did. He didn't last very long, did he? He was not anything too impressive.
I used to buy Sunshine sunscreen until I read it contains 7 hormone-disrupting chemicals and palm oil.
Yuck. Oh, interesting random fact I learned to anybody just interested. See, another thing is I just love random facts. I don't know. I collect them. I just do. And then if they fascinate me enough, which almost all of them do, once I learn them, I never forget them. So Queen Elizabeth, you know, she's famous for having all that white caked on makeup and everything else. She did not look like that her whole life, which is one of the reasons. And when you see them having them paint her white in one of the movies, it's like the Virgin Queen and everything, and making a big deal about it. That's entirely false. And the reason why it happened is she was apparently a very attractive woman in her youth, but because she's royalty, well, rich people can buy all sorts of exotic, fancy things. And one of those ironic twists of fate that seems to happen to the poor people and not the rich people anymore is that rich people, because they can buy these exotic things, they would go off and buy them without understanding the consequences of, putting mercury on your face. So Queen Elizabeth would buy these, her makeup had all these compounds in them, and one of the things that it had in it was mercury. And so she would be her entire life she wore makeup with mercury in it, which just basically it destroyed her face. Like literally, her face rotted off. And so, of course, the worse it got, the more makeup she put on. And the more makeup she put on, the more makeup it got. And to the point, by the end of her life, she looked like a clown. So the very act of being rich made her use products that did that to her. So there is a certain karma sometimes to wealth, at least in the past. I'm not so sure it's around anymore. So you see how the game is made. Like when you watch like a game like this on a plane, you're kind of thinking like, okay, so what's the process for making the game do that? Is that like okay, how did they program it to do that? Is that more what you mean? Because for me, when I'm looking at a game and what, gotcha. For me, when I look at games and I think of like, I don't even think of the programming side, because for me, like that's not really. I always think of, well, what kind of game would I like to play, which is why meeting someone. And right now, I'm just talking about my butt. I mean, realistically, is it ever going to happen? No, But at the same time, would it? Could it happen? Sure. Never say never. We're here. We're just talking. So it'd be kind of cool though, right? Like, I get ideas on what I want, then you get ideas on, but I have no idea how to do it. So you'd be the how to do things. I'd be the, what I want to do things. And, obviously you need a bigger team than that, but one of the things is, I don't know. I just babble. I don't know. It's I babble. So just don't take this for more than what it is or more than what it isn't too. So I don't know if you've heard about the 3M lawsuit that's coming up with the military and killing all of our hearing. But I was a field artillery officer. My hearing got shot to shit. I used the exact earplugs that were faulty, that they knew were faulty, and the entire time the earplugs were in service was 2005 to 2014. 2015. Well, I was in the Army from 2005 to 2015. So my entire military career was the entire time these earplugs were in use. I used them my entire career. I was a field artillery officer that used them all the time, and I have documented tendonitis and hearing loss. And I mention all this because it was they were defective earplugs that the company 3M knew were defective, and there is currently it's not it's not yet a class. It's not a class action lawsuit, so I got to be very careful. It is specifically not technically a class action, but it's a massive lawsuit operating with these little mini lawsuits one at a time, and they're working towards a settlement. And 3M's been jackasses about it for years, thinking that they're going to get away, like just paying these really cheap settlements. Like, I mean, cheap. Like, they were offering people like $10,000 settlements for like total hearing loss. Like, I mean, total, like death. And their arrogance, it just looks like it's about to backfire on them, because these things called bellwether trials, and in these bellwether trials, it's essentially taking some of the cases that are just normal and just going to trial with them. Like, okay, it's not a class action; it's just regular trial with these bellwether cases. And of all the bellwether cases, they think they've done 6. They've lost 5 of 6. And the one they lost was for a civil affairs officer who, in my opinion, never. I think he shamed us by trying to file a lawsuit, because the only time he was ever around a weapon was in basic training. That was it. He served in the like National Guard, so he didn't even serve full-time military. He served National Guard for like a few years, and only was around weapons in basic training. So yeah, he lost the case. But the problem, so okay, good for them. But the other cases that won, the average settlement was a $1.8 million settlement per soldier. $1.8 million. And for these soldiers, these are soldiers that have far less severe conditions than mine, under far less circumstances. The soldier that just won, you can look it up on the internet, by the way. It's called the 3M earplug lawsuit. I'm a defendant, not a defendant. I'm not a prosecutor, but I'm one of the people who are part of the suing body of that case. And the guy whose case most similar to mine just went and won $8.6 million. Yes, oh yeah, that's why I'm going with all this. Yeah, I'm part of it, and not only am I part of it, I'm part of the subset of groups that, whenever payouts happen, will be getting the highest payout. And the bellwether case for my subset of group that just went out was 8.6. So I'm trying not to get too terribly excited, because nothing's set in stone. Nothing, life still has to happen. But let's just say that I might find myself in a situation where I've got money to invest to do some shit I want to do here in the next couple of years. So I've got ideas spouting around in my head. Because whatever it is I'm going to take, I know for a fact whatever it is, I'm going to take half of it and throw it into like a super safe investments. I'm going to take a quarter of it. I'm going to just kind of throw it into some throw it's the wrong word. I'm not throwing it into anything. I'm going to take a quarter of it, and I'm going to put it into stuff that to set up specifically for my daughter's future, for her to have specifically to do whatever she wants with in the future, like no questions asked. But it's going to be in terms of once she's ready for it, mature-wise. But it's not going to be used. When I say no questions asked, though, that's right. This is the one thing that frustrates me about streams, because if I could take this back, I would totally take back that last sentence. It's not there for partying. It's going to be money that's set at 1/4 of it's going to be set aside for like her to use to pursue her life's goals and dreams, not to go spend in Malibu, and I don't consider, as much as Twitch is awesome, it's I would like to see her. She's more than welcome to make money off of it, but I want her to have something a little more substantive, and if she wants that money, she's gonna have to come up with grander ideas than that, is my point. And then the other 1/4, I'm looking at whatever it is, of just taking it and finding some pet project and just going for it, with the idea being, if I lose it all, I don't care. It can all go away, I don't mind. I just want to go do something with it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a life education fund. Exactly. It's a great way to put it. That's what I'm hoping, man, honestly. Right now, I'm like income rich, if that makes sense. Like, I make really good income, and I don't have to spend my time making it. So in that sense, I do well off, but I'm not like walk into a room and just, it's like, I think you get what I'm saying. I think you understand what I'm saying. There's 2 different levels of it, and that would put it on a whole new level, especially with, it won't change any of my other income. So I'll still have my medical retirement income. That'll never go away and all that kind of stuff. So It'll put me in. My thing I'm most excited is it will put me in a position to be able to do a lot to help progressives in Congress, just the progressive cause in general, because I don't need it or want it for anything more than just to have it, to pursue good things in the world, because playing video, I don't need a mansion. It's like, that's what I've never, I don't mean that as a play on word as Joe Manchin, even though that's kind of funny. I could probably take that and make some funny analogy out of it, but I don't get I don't understand why people want big ass mansions on a beach. Like, even if I was fascinated by, I could travel to the beach, but I don't need it. Well, why do I need a mansion? Like, seriously, like, I have my nice room, my video games, I have my DoorDash for my good eating, I have a pleasant environment to live in. I really don't understand why I would want more, and it dumbfounds me the people who just seem to want, like, and even Jay Leno. Like, I like the guy. He's a funny guy. He's a nice guy, but Jesus Christ, what does that dude need all those cars for? I forgive it just because it's a car collection, and I get collecting things. Like, I've collected things in the past, so I get that when you collect things, it's more about the collection, not about just hoarding things. Collectors are not hoarders. There is a difference, a huge difference. But at the same time, man, it's like, dude, you're collecting cars. Come on, man. You've got the money to have all those cars just sit there and do nothing, and you can't think of better things to do with your fucking money. And I like the guy. I like Jay Leno. Like, I personally think he's a great guy, and it bothers me that like, seriously, like, when someone tells me that the rich are investing the money, and it's all for the economy, and it'll ruin the economy if we tax the rich. It'll ruin the economy if Jay Leno gets one less car added to his collection every year, or Betsy DeVos's family gets one less yacht. I'm not saying we go in there and steal everything they own, but they'll be okay with a little less if it means every American in America gets access to free healthcare. Sorry, me, I go off. I can go off when I get on something. Yeah, definitely, yeah, and I don't know when it's gonna, I know the time. This thing has been going on with 3M for years, so that's the interesting. So people are like, so you are right. That's the weird thing about all these legal things too, and I'm starting to discover with how law works and its lawsuits, is you hear about, it takes forever, and it does, because of all the motions, filed a motion, delays. Like, they can delay it for a long time, but when that finally happens, it happens quick. Like, the actual thing happens fast. It's not the event and the trial that takes forever. It's just all the maneuvering with the lawyers that just asking for more time, this, that, and the other. Which, frankly, if I could pick any one thing that we need to really fix in our legal system, it's not preventing people from suing. It's preventing companies from being able to play these games and keeping people from suing, because they just wait them out, essentially. Exactly. Yeah, money's just oil in an economic machine, and as long as it's moving, it really doesn't matter who has it. Obviously, yes, it matters who has it, but I'm saying, as long as it's moving, it's helping somebody. It's when it's not moving and it's getting stuck somewhere that we have problems. And where does it get stuck? Anybody who thinks that the economy and the money gets stuck at the poor people level is a freaking idiot. Poor people don't get stuck on money. It doesn't get stuck there, because if it did, they wouldn't be poor. Poor people can't afford to have the money get bottlenecked there. Exactly. The velocity of money, I like that. Is that a term you kind of used on your own, or did you read it somewhere? Because I like that term. So it communicates so much in a very effective way with saying, but just in a very quick. Yeah, I have to look at. Yeah, I like that term, the velocity of money. How much? How fast? And where's it going? and who's capturing some of it as it goes along, and do they get to keep it, or do they got to put it back into the pipeline? Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. But see, I've done. The thing is, I've studied economics, but not just like as an amateur. Like I've got a degree. Like I've studied professionally, and I've never heard that. I've never heard the term used like that before. Like I've heard all these different terms, so it seems almost like a slang term, but not in a bad way. I like the term. It almost seems like it should become a formal definition. Okay, I don't know what's going on with my chat box yet. Okay,
Do we have another man-eater we can follow for the remainder of this season?
let's see what's going on with my... Give me a sec. I don't know if it's this game or what, but there's something about the chat box. It's supposed to operate in the background, which it does, but then for some reason it keeps out of nowhere popping up front and center, wanting to exit because it thinks I'm clicking on it, and I got to figure out why. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I love new economic theories. I think it's funny too because what's so funny too is that when theories have been around for so long and people have been fighting for so long that they just kind of start getting implemented without people realizing. I read something really funny the other day. So MMT, modern monetary theory, has been around for what? Don't quote me on the exact timeline, like 20, 30 years. I mean, don't quote me on the timeline, but it's been around for a hot minute, right? And progressives have been pushing for it for so long and gotten parts of it implemented. Even during the Trump era, I think we were doing some stuff with it conceptually, but especially now that Biden's in here, we just started doing it. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. But basically, even prior to Trump, even conservatives fundamentally have been doing MMT. Like MMT has been in like. We haven't been doing MMT in terms of how we've been thinking about it, but functionally MMT has been what we've been doing for like 40 years. We just haven't been thinking of it in those terms, or if we haven't been communicating to Americans in those terms. But it's like people are acting like it's this brand new thing. It's like no, it's not some new thing we're going to implement. It's what we've been doing. So, that's another thing I try and get across with some of Ben's knucklehead followers is they keep thinking that his conservative ideas are this grand idea that if we implement them, it'll lead to this grand prosperity. And it's no, guy, no, they've been implemented. They've been implemented for God knows how many years, 40 years plus, since Reagan, so 40 years. It all came along Reagan economics. It's been implemented. It's nothing new. And so if you're not happy with the economy as it is right now, you're not happy with his philosophy of how the economy should work, because the economy we have right now is exactly the economy that was predicted with Reagan economics. It's crazy. All right, do me a favor. I'm getting an error message and some other stuff, and I've got to figure out what's going on with the chat box. And to be honest, I got to go take a leak. So I am not quitting. I am going to take a small, short little break. It shouldn't be gone too long. Once again, I did not get a chance to eat because of trying to get set up taking longer than I thought, so I'll probably get a bite to eat too. So yeah, I already have 30 minutes written down, so I'll take 30 minutes. So gonna take a 30-minute break. Yeah, they just keep talking about the deficit as possible. Exactly. Oh man, yeah. So yeah, now I gotta stick around at least to finish up this conversation before I go anywhere. Yeah, it drives me fucking batty. And here's why I hate it when I hear or I shouldn't even say hate. Here's what drives my crawl when I hear like Rand Paul talking about it and all these other people, because there's only one of two solutions. There's only one of two things. Either they don't know that this country can't go bankrupt. They don't know that as the sovereign owner of the dollar, the only danger is inflation, and that's it. And there's so many ways to prevent that. One, there's so many ways to prevent that from really being an issue. And two, the biggest danger to inflation right now is not the American government spending. The biggest danger to inflation right now is all the money the rich having hoarded for the last freaking God knows how many long. If they all release it at once, like God help us, of all the wealth that has just been hoarded by the top for the last 40, 50, 60 years, if they just decide to just release the Kraken with the money on top of the rest of us all at once, it's done, son. And that's kind of what's going on in real estate right now. Since I was something to Ann earlier, and I have no idea if she read it or not or saw it, but I think she's right on the money regarding the biggest danger being them buying up all the single-family homes, because that's exactly what's going on. But the thing is, even the inflation's a faulty argument. So they're starting to see, they didn't want to. They wanted to focus on the bankrupt and the budget and everything else until they got called out on it. So the fact that they switched to inflation is still a victory, because the only reason they switched to inflation is because they finally got called out on got called out enough that they realized that they couldn't trick the American people anymore. So that's why they switched to it. But even the inflation one's a faulty argument. Think about it. We just upped increased the defense budget by $7.8 trillion over 10 years, which is apple to apples what we're spending on the stimulus. 3.5 trillion over 10 years. Okay, why is it we always talk about that kind of program in 10-year timelines and the military budget in 1-year timelines, when we all damn well know the military budget is not, I don't remember the last time the military budget went down, other than like 1 year under Obama, and then it immediately went back up. So we just voted to increase the military spending by $7.8 trillion over the next 10 years, and nobody blinked an eye or said jack shit. So that's why it's all disingenuous, which means that they are what I already knew they are, which is either they're retarded or they are gaslighting the American people. And of course, we all know it's the second. And I don't know why it's so difficult to help. I don't know why the conservatives can't see this. And I figured out it's because they're so wrapped up still in these culture wars. They care so much about the culture wars. It almost has me wondering if it's not worth it to just start surrendering some of the culture war issues. Not because I think we should, or because not all of them, just because at the end of the day, it's the economic wars are what matter. Because if you win the economic war, the culture war is going to win itself. Because people who are happy and doing well, even if they don't like somebody's transgender status, they're not going to care enough to do anything. They're not going to hate it about it enough to go blame them for their life's problems, because they're not going to have life's problems that are going to be that bad. And I'm not talking about surrender rights, to be clear. Yeah, well, the thing is that, and I'm not talking about surrender like rights or anything crazy like that, or to that level. I'm talking more like, in some ways they do have a point. In certain instances, like, should transgenders be allowed to participate in female sports if they're a male transgender, or vice versa? I honestly don't know the right answer to that, to the point where I'm not going to sit here and argue yes or no, because I've thought about it, and there are very good arguments to be made on both sides. And what I do know is that just shutting them down and telling them that they're bad for even saying there's something wrong with having that debate is a really bad idea, because all you're doing is justifying them whenever they point to other things, like when we call them a racist, when they actually are being racist, and then they go, well, see, you just shut us down for all the time. You know what I mean? Which Republican, like, it depends on which ones. I mean, do I think the leaders do? No. Do I think the ones on TV do? No. Do I even think that the card-carrying rifle NRA, like, even no. What I think is the people who watch Fox News hate the others. They hate the others. And one of the reasons they hate the others is because they blame the others for why they're economically doing unwell. And the other reason is that in a world where everybody is doing unwell, the white people have been able to live for the last hundreds of years, being able to say, well, as bad as I'm doing, and I'm talking poor white people here, I'm specifically talking poor white people, have been able to say, well, no matter how bad my life is, at least I'm better than the black people. And that entire assumption, when it gets challenged, is why they push back so hard. Because the last thing they want is to be equal to a white or to a black person, which they are, but that's the last thing they want to accept, because that means them accepting their actual social station in life, which is the bottom of the barrel. And that's why the white trash, podunk, poor of the poor, white trash are the ones running around being the loudest, whatever's everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you 100%. Which is why it's the economic issue that needs to be solved. But and the frustrating part is the leaders have done such an excellent job of blaming the economic issues on the others that they've been able to take their racism and hate, and it's so glaring that you can't push through it anymore. And the only thing I know how to do about it at this point is I'm honestly at the point. Oh, you'll have to link that to me or something. Shoot me a DM when you get a chance, if you don't mind, with a link. I love Chris Rock is one of my all-time favorite comedians. Even Dave Chappelle, even though he got himself into some trouble recently. I watched this special. I disagree with a lot of it. I think it got blown out of proportion. My biggest problem with Dave Chappelle's special was it wasn't funny. That was my biggest issue with it. Not that he said anything really too crazy or anything personally. I just didn't think it was funny. I think it was more of a lecture than a comedy show. But I didn't see. Once I finally sat down and watched it, I think people kind of blew it out of proportion, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, does he obviously have some issues with transgender that he needs to deal with? Probably. Does he have some homophobia in him? Probably. But the funny thing is, he even gets up there and admits it. He even comes up and says he's got transgender. He says he's transphobic. He admits it. Like, so, I'm not quite sure what people are expecting from him, other than maybe you shouldn't be doing comedy routines about it. That part I agree with. But he didn't get up there and say anything that was so horrid that he deserves the crap he's getting. On the flip side, I lost all respect, not for him as a person, but I lost a ton of respect for him when he got up there on national television and started talking about cancel culture. Like, dude, you're on national television. You can't go on national television and complain about being canceled. It's like, doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, I recommend doing it just so you kind of can know where I think when you hear about it, you can understand where people are coming from within context. Because honestly, maybe it's because I'd heard so many people talk trash about it. I went in with such worse expectations, but it was not nearly as bad as I was thinking, as I had been led to believe, like the way people were talking about it. Like, I mean, yeah, there were a few jokes in there, but I was like, it really wasn't that funny. There were things like, yeah, I don't think I'd have said that. But there was nothing that was just so crazy ridiculous. Like, oh my God. I mean, and it's Chappelle. And as I said, my biggest issue wasn't that anything he said. It was more that he just wasn't funny. And you'll see it. I mean, you tell me. I just didn't find it funny. And it's supposed to be a comedy show. That was my biggest issue with it. But okay, anyways, I'm done babbling. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go back to eat. Love for you to stick around and chat some more when I'm back, but don't feel obligated, man. You and a few others are my absolute favorite people to chat with. You always come in and make it fun. So would love it if you stayed around. Won't feel bad or won't be insulted if you don't. Otherwise, I'm going to be back here in probably about 9:35ish, 9:40ish, and I'll be back. All right, so how's it going, hippie mama? You doing all right? Yeah, glad you liked the clip. Got about halfway through John Oliver too, and then I was like, oh, I guess that might be taking a little bit too long. I'll post that one though. He's got actually, like, John Oliver's even better. He's got a good one in the middle of. So I know I don't think video games are really necessarily too much your thing, but I play video games, but we talk about everything. So it doesn't. In fact, usually when it's just me talking, I'm talking about the video game, and then when someone comes in to visit, it's never about the video game, which is great. That's a great thing. That's not a bad thing, not a complaint. So don't feel obligated that we need to talk about what's going on screen. So a great John. He honestly, I think he's replaced in some ways Jon Stewart as my favorite. I don't know if they are replaceable exactly, but excuse me. So I just ate, so I'm still kind of like. I wouldn't say replace is the wrong word. I mean, Jon Stewart's irreplaceable, but I would say that he's got his own special place in my heart, right alongside Jon Stewart. Maybe that's the best way to phrase it. Yeah, I'm good at games. I've been playing them my entire life. I'm hard pressed to top of my head to think of the kind of game I'm bad at, unless I just start learning. And there's only particular games that even if I'm first time playing that I'm bad at, and usually those are like sports games, because those are about the only kind of games I don't typically play. So football games, even though I know how to play football, a lot of the mechanics on how football games work, I kind of don't quite. I have to get used to whenever I get into new games. All right. Nice, and we got Knight Rider and Hippie Mama. We've got a trifecta now in the chat. That's outstanding. I love it. And so just tip you on, just so you know, about the game. Not much about it. It's just keeping it simple. Enjoying the joys of being a shark. It's actually kind of like a comedy, to be honest. I used to love football when I was a kid. To watching and playing. It's one of the that sticks out as anybody. Bruce. Yeah, exactly, and it's like I don't honestly know the right answer, because of course I wish we lived in a world where we can make everybody happy, but we don't. And part of society, part of society is, it's conforming to society. Now, it's society's job to not ostracize people and to let people be as individualistic as possible and be who we are and allow us our personal freedoms. I firmly believe that. But we can't expect society to conform to every single one of our whims, which I don't know why, but I'm just going to be blunt. Sometimes it seems like the progressive left on some issues, cultural issues, has gotten to that point where we seem to think that a person's expression of personal identity means that we have to just go out of our way on everything, which I don't agree with. You see, that's what I'm kind of curious about, though. Like, okay, so in most cases, there's not a reason. So what? And I don't know. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I am not coming at this issue as an expert. My interest mostly with progressive issues is economic. I support all the cultural issues progressive wise for the most part, but I would be the first to admit it's not necessarily the passion that got me into it initially, though. The more I learned about systemic racism towards black people and the economics behind it, the more the racism issue did become a passion of mine. It did not start off as one, but it did. So yeah, and then the gender issue, I've got. I admit that I've got a lot of bias there. Probably I need to overcome. I've seen a lot on both ends. And how to put it. it's easier to ask, I guess, kind of answer questions more than offer. Because obviously, I don't believe that women have any obligation to give men sex. So, to do sex. I don't believe men have the right to harass women. So, I mean, first off, take any of just the basic, obvious, like, no-nos. And yes, of course, I support progressives. So there's nothing that would stand out that I would disagree with progressives on. It's more the subtle stuff. I think sometimes things have got a bit too far on the extreme edges, is more what I'm talking about. Because they kind of attacked me with the fact that I didn't think that making cars completely obsolete was possibly. Yeah, well, one, I agree with you. We're not there yet, and two, yeah, exactly. And that's the key thing is I'm seeing a lot of that on the left. It's like I'm seeing a lot of MAGA-like individualist mentality, but on the left side, and it's like you gotta nuance. It's like Zink says, it's about nuance, and you can have just as much hard head on the left as you can on the right. And anyone who's not willing to have a discussion and it just wants to shut out the other side, in my opinion, is just they're automatically wrong. Even if they wound up ultimately being right about the argument, but you're never going to know because they shut the other side down. Exactly, Knight Rider. See, I am curious where you think the line is. So here, I'll tell you where I think the line is. I always want to come up with a caveat. Now, I know I can speak openly with you, you two, and you guys have known me long enough where even if I misspoke, you would know it was just kind of me just kind of not communicating well. But just as a caveat, like, I to anyone else, I speak my mind. I'm pretty open about it. I'm open with who I am. I also will never lock into a position. So even if I do say something or think something that really is wrong, I don't think I do, but maybe I do. I'm also not so hard-headed as that I'm not able to change my mind. So just don't attack me on it. That's one thing I don't like is somebody says something that, and then everybody wants to attack them. Well, a thoughtful person, if you come at them and you have a discussion with them, will be thoughtful with you. But if you attack them on it, well, no, they're not going to think about what you have to say about it. So, anyways, what my position being, I think women. If I were a woman, especially in today's day and age, where men it still is very much a patriarchy. Women very much are threatened by men on all different ways, shapes, and forms. While I think it's understood or generally believed that transgenders are not like that. One, that is kind of a stereotype. Maybe one that works in their favor, but is that necessarily true? And I don't know. And two, looking at it from the woman's perspective, how is she ultimately supposed to know they're actually a transgender and not just some random dude dressing up as a woman to go into the woman's bathroom? Are there men sick enough to do that? Abso-fucking-lutely. You cannot tell me there are not men sick enough to do that. Now, does that mean we start questioning every man who's been put in a dress if they're really a transgender? No, if they say they're a transgender, you take them at their word for it. My point is that you can't discount the discomfort a woman may feel as an individual with transgenders being allowed in the woman's bathroom. It's not a simple solution, and that's why I don't like the blanket. This whole there's no blanket solution to this problem. And so that's why shutting the discussion down on either end is the wrong answer, in my opinion. And I personally do not think that the transgenders should be allowed in female bathrooms or male bathrooms. What I do think we should do is, like they do in a lot of other places in Europe, and like they have here in some places, is just create family bathrooms with a lock. I'm not saying all women though, hippie. You want me to go hippie mama, or just mama? Or does it matter? I'd probably call you mama, like hippie mama. I don't know. See, some thing maybe I'll start calling you mama, but then I don't know. That has this whole other connotation to it. So maybe I want to avoid. So I don't know. I just call you hippie mama, I guess. But anyways, I'm not saying all women, but some women do, and they have the right to be there. And it's not like all men are strong either. There are plenty of, and hey, there are plenty of homosexual men out there who would fit the stereotype of a weak woman. And that's just kind of my point, is that whether we like it or not, for thousands of years we've put people and genders in a box, and I do not believe we should. Here's the best way I can explain the analogy. I think I do not think we should force people into a box. But the people comfortable in that box, I don't think we should force them out of the box either. Does that make sense? Like, hey, you don't want to be in that box, I don't think we should shove it to you. But that person likes it in their box, they're comfortable in the box, and that's the box society made for them for the last 2,000 years, and they like it there. I don't think we should force them to have to get out of the box either, so long as them staying in that box is not hurting other people. And really, they kind of have a right to be in that box more than a transgender has the right to force themselves into that box. I got you. Yeah, I see. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to jump to conclusions. All right, sounds good. Thanks, Mama. But yeah, I personally think family bathrooms are the answer, because first off, why is it's weird when you have a family and you can't use a family bathroom, and usually the ones I've seen, the way they're designed for one family at a time. So you can go in there as an individual, you can go in there as a family, you can go in there as a transgender, and no, you're not being ostracized, because if you were born a man, you can go in the male bathroom. If you're born a woman, you can go in the woman bathroom. I mean, it seems to me like it's the ideal solution for everybody. And out of all the bathrooms, I've noticed family bathrooms are actually the ones that are least utilized for whatever reason. For me, I mean, they always tend to be the nicest ones. I don't know if like single people think they're not allowed in or what, but like they're always the ones the most available too. So it's not like they're in there. It's not like they're getting put in a situation where they're getting the short end of the stick on available restrooms. Let me read it. I missed it. Oh no. Well, see, and that's it. Sports is another example. I was starting with the transgender bathrooms because I think that's a good start. But when you start getting to sports, I'm going to be blunt. And this is one area where I disagree with Zinc and TYT entirely. I do not think transgenders have any business competing in sports the opposite of their gender. I just don't. Either don't separate the genders in the athletics, have sports be non-gender, but if you're going to have gender sports, you got to be the gender you were born with. Because if we say we're splitting up genders, we're saying there's a reason we're splitting up genders. And there usually is, because yes, men and women are legally, morally, all those other kind of ways equal. Absolutely, 100% in every as a value as people, we are equally valuable as people in all that sense. But we are not the same. And I had this discussion yesterday. And one of the best examples I gave, which I forgot to give yesterday, is there is a reason why women, barring some mutation, exception for some, specific women cannot play baseball. They will never be able to play baseball and have to play softball. It's because of the way their arms are designed. They physically cannot throw a baseball the way a man can throw a baseball. Women's, like the way their elbows, their arms, it's not physically possible. That's why when women play softball and not women's baseball. It's got nothing to do with gender in the sense of them being weak or a stereotype of weaker muscles. No, the way the arms are leveraged and that's why women can't throw as well as men. It's just a fact. And same concept. You know, I don't care what hormones you've taken. I don't care what, you know, what you identify with. A man is going to be better at athletics than women on the average, on the aggregate. I know there are exceptions, but you can't highlight the outliers and then call that the rule. Those are the outliers for a reason. We make rules for the norm. You say we can or can't. I don't think we can get past things. And if we're talking about having a fair sport, I don't think we can get past things like 60% muscle advantages. I mean, unless you're telling me that a transgender wants to get transgender, get hormones, get their genitalia, you know, however that works. I'll be the first to admit I don't even know exactly how that works. I don't know if they remove it. I don't know if they do something. I mean, and that's not my business, frankly. However that works. But the reality is, unless you're telling me you're going to start carving out pieces of their muscles and just rearranging how their bones are structured, you know, it's in. The key thing is regardless of what the ultimate right answer is, even if I'm wrong, the conservatives 100% have a legitimate argument to have a discussion about this. And the fact that so many people are shutting them down on it is frankly, it's dangerous. Because every time I argue with a conservative, it is the first thing they point to about liberals, about why, or about progressives, about why we shouldn't be listened to, and why we're just as stubborn as they are. That's the first thing they go to when I say that when they talk about kind of how they're being stubborn and they only see things from one point of view. That's their go-to thing, and I never have a response for it, other than to tell them they're right. As you can see, I get passionate, but you know, I'm not actually angry. Just if I'm coming off like that, this is just me. Where, you know, I'm sure you can feel it when I write. Sometimes that's just me. When I get into something I'm saying or thinking, I'm perfectly fine. I'm like not actually like upset about anything. Just a heads up. Exactly, hippie mama. You know what would be awesome if somehow I could convince people who don't agree with us to come here and we could actually have a civil debate. It's never going to happen because I should never say never, never say never. I even tried to do that on the YouTube channel, and I got some civil debate, but most people, it was either they were kind of moderates kind of people who were just all about Ben and Anna getting along. So a lot of people very happy that they got along, which is great, but I don't think they realize that them two getting along basically accomplishes nothing, which is the exact opposite. You know, those are the status quo lovers, which is, as we're well aware, status quo is exactly what we do not love. And when it comes to, okay, at what age are we talking about? And is the sport for fun? I mean, well, this is when you get into nuance. I mean, I agree, Knight Rider, but that's when you get into nuance. Are we talking competition? Are we talking for fun? Is there a scholarship on the line? You know, is this just gym class? Like, and I mean, that's the whole other thing, and that is the level of nuance and detail. Hold on. And that's the level of nuance that we need to be having with our discussions, but we can't get there because we can't get past the most basic stuff. And I don't know exactly where that line, I'll be the first to say, I don't know where the line is. That's why we need a discussion. We need a very thoughtful discussion with people on both sides of the argument who are willing to sit down and have a thoughtful, you know, breakdown of how this should work, as opposed to calling each other, you know, communist and fascist. You know, you're wrong. I'm all about calling actual fascist, but I don't think conservatives having issues with transgenders in sports are fascist. I think it's a reasonable thing to at least be concerned about. That was a bad aim on my part. Exactly. Well, yeah, and that's part of the discussion is, okay, in this sport, in this thing, how much is gender an advantage, not an advantage, is an advantage. And that's why I always like using baseball as the perfect example, because it is absolutely the sport where there is no question that men and women are not equal. It's just not even it's just factual, just because of the female's bone makeup. There's no arguing strength. There's no arguing strength percentage. There's no arguing weight, height. Just you take barring the extreme outliers, the way the woman's bone in their arms are made, or females' bones in their arms are made, they cannot throw a ball like a male. Period. Yeah, I agree with football, so I'm not as familiar with that sport enough to say that with certainty, so I didn't want to. I mean, it's fine. It's heard, and I said, don't take my word on it either. But feel free to search it up. And I said, I'm like Zink. Hey, don't just take my word on it. Maybe I'm just full of crap. Maybe I'm a Ben Shapiro just out looking to get a bunch of brain dead zombies to listen to everything I say. I'm not, but you never know. Best way to find out is to look up if what I'm saying is true or if I'm just full of shit. But it is true, though. Okay, well, see, so a couple things. One, that's kicking, which absolutely women can do. 100%. And I am not saying women should. See, here's another thing. I'm not saying we shouldn't let women play sport. In fact, I think we've had. Maybe it was somebody else. I think it was Silverhaired Dragon. I had this discussion with him, Mama. I want to be very clear. I am not saying we should not let women play football, or that we should not let them play baseball. Because just as you said, one, there are positions that they could be very good at. Two, there are outliers. Why should we not play the woman who just happens to be born with the perfect angled arms that even though 99% of women can't throw the baseball very well, this one particular woman can throw it at 150 miles an hour because she was just born with some damn good baseball throwing arms. So yeah, don't miss. I'm not suggesting that we forbid women from playing men's sports or vice versa just on the blanket aspect of it. The problem is when you have a situation where it's transgender, you have a situation where either someone can or be perceived to be able to, quote, cheat the system, or they weren't born into their situation. Like, it's one thing to be born as an outlier that gives you an advantage in a sport. It's another thing to turn yourself into an outlier, if that makes sense. Even if it's for the right reasons. I get that they're not turning themselves. I understand they're not making the. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're becoming women just so they can win at sports. Okay, that would be ridiculous. I'm not suggesting that, but the reality is that I hope you know what I think you know what I'm saying. I hope you know what I'm saying. That may not be why they did it, but it's still a consequence of it. And it's a consequence that was not something they were born with. It was part of an action that gave them then an unfair advantage. And if you say it's okay to do that, then why is it not okay for someone to get other types of surgery to give them unfair advantage in sports that have nothing to do with gender? Theirs may have been for gender, okay, but but why does the reason matter? If it's okay to get a surgery to be allowed to have an advantage in a sport, why can't other people do it? Yeah, cool. That's why I love discussions. So I firmly believe when people sit down and actually think about something and sit down and have a discussion, I think most people tend to agree. And I really believe that most of the people don't understand each other's arguments. There's a miscommunication and somebody's not listening to somebody, or you do just have your just crazies. I mean, obviously a racist person unless they're willing to open to their mind to the fact that they're racist, is never going to agree with anything, you know. Unless, you know, but people that are that hard-headed, they're hard-headed for like that for a reason, and the odds of them changing are pretty darn small. So my big, I would say my biggest controversial point of view does have to do with the genders, though. And I'll be really curious on your take on Hippie Mamba, and this is the one point of view that in the past I kept to myself because it has gotten me in trouble. And I'm willing to be open about the fact that, hey, maybe I'm an asshole. But I am of the belief that at this day and age, at this time, women in some areas of America have started to, spoiled's the wrong word, but they have been told so many lies by society that their expectations have become so high and so unrealistic that I think they have become unfair to men in the dating marketplace. But not all men, some men. So let me finish before I get myself into a whole. If I'm going to go down this rabbit hole, I might as well go it. So to be clear, I do believe in the patriarchy. I believe the patriarchy is unfair. I think it's held women back for centuries. I think it's still holding back. So what I am talking about here is not the. I'm not talking about the work or job environment. I'm specifically talking about the dating environment. And you're talking to a guy who's not had issues dating. I mention this because when I've had this conversation in the past with women, one of the first things they want to do is tell me it's just because I'm a hater or because I'm whatever, that I'm. They ask me what my problem is with, why I'm having issues, and I try and explain I don't have a problem personally with the way the system is. The dating market as it is right now has worked in my favor spectacularly. But I'm one of the top 10 to 20% of men around in my life that has never really had problems getting a date. Like, I don't go home, when I was a kid, I didn't go home every night, don't get me wrong, I had plenty of, single evenings in bed, but I never struggled like a lot of my friends did, and I had friends who struggled. Really, 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 really nice guys who struggled. And what's heartbreaking to me is one of them in particular, still single, who's a nice guy, great guy. Yeah, he's a little quirky. I'm not going to say it's all the woman's fault because, he's got his own quirks. But what happened to him a little while back is horrendous to me, which is, let me give you the example. And I haven't been reading chat because I kind of want to finish before something in chat distracts me, and I'll go back up and read it. He got played by this girl that he had fallen in love with he just fallen in love with her, and he got played. And what we wound up discovering post-fact was she was using him for his money. And her justification was she had been abused by men her entire life. And so she felt justified in doing it to this poor guy who had been struggling to be in a relationship with women his entire life. And when he finally thought he found someone, he was used. And I did a bunch of research into this just as fairly recently, like within the last 6 months, because I really wanted to get to the bottom of how something like this happens. And what I've discovered is about 20% of men in America are sleeping around with 80% of the women age 30 and younger. I don't know much about the 30 to 40 bracket. I'm specifically talking the younger women, so this probably doesn't even a lot of this apply to a lot of TYT viewers because we're all older audiences, I think, for the most part. I'm 40-something, and I'm concerned about this for my daughter who's 12. So another reason I've dove deep into this is I've got a daughter who's about to enter into this, and I've got to figure out how to talk to her about it. But you have 20% of the men dating and sleeping with 80% of the women. 80% of the men, it's not that they've given up on dating entirely, it's that they've been rejected for so long they've given up trying. And they've become... All right, I'm going to read some chat. I see you guys are catching up, and I don't want to lose it. All right, hold on. Okay, good. Okay, great. I'm glad you guys at least kind of heard what I'm talking about. Because I brought this up a while back, and man, I was called a misogynist. I was called just all sorts of hateful stuff. I don't know if you'd seen that Bad Bunny video on the that I'd left up for a little while on the YouTube, and I wasn't even talking about that. I didn't even go into this level of detail on it. Like, it was just a man-hating video. The point I was trying to make was they were just absolutely man-hating on all men. And it was because they were man-hating on a specific kind of men, and I was trying to make the argument that, look, not all men are like that, but if that's the only kind of man you're going to try and date, that's the kind of man that you're going to treat you like this. And it's not fair to men for you to treat all men like this, because a certain type of man is treating you like this, and you keep going back to that same kind of man. So to be clear, I'm not here to tell a woman, and I tell them, I'm not here to tell a woman who to date and who not to date. That's a woman's choice. A woman has a choice to date whoever. No man should be able to tell her to date. But here, on the flip side of that, though, if you look at current standards, and they did a survey on this, the average American girl, her minimum, keep in mind, this is minimum standards of who she will find acceptable in a long-term marital or dateable partner. These are women under 30 getting surveyed, by the way, just to keep in mind. So you got to keep the age group in mind, because they're specifically looking at women who are not ready to settle down yet, but want to one day. Need to be over 6 feet tall and make over $600,000 a year, and treat them really nice and not cheat on them. So I don't know how many men you've met in your life, but I know statistically just the over 6 foot tall is actually really darn rare. I mean, it's out there, but there aren't that many 6 foot tall men. And while there are a lot of wealthy men out there, I mean, men making over $100,000 a year still aren't just running around like, around every gas station corner. And keep in mind, this is every woman. These are not just like this is every woman. So these are women who have assessed themselves as average-looking women or whatever. This is the 80%. So this is just your average, everyday woman. These are not exceptional, standout women. That I'm not saying that should make them deserve it either, just because they look hot. I'm just talking. These are just average, everyday American girls. Now you're telling me you want 100,000 and over 6 foot tall, and that's your minimum standard. That's less than 1% of the entire male population fits that category. So 80% of the men, or 80% of the women already, just off the minimum category, are now competing for 1% of the male population. Who, by the way, most of them are already married or dating or are doing their thing, if they even want to be in a committed relationship, because those kind of guys don't need to be in a committed relationship because they've got every woman pursuing them. Why do they need to like lock down? What's their incentive to lock down when they've got everything they want coming at them anyways? So my point in all this is that all these women then get in that's what they want. That's their minimum standard. And then on top of that, they want them to be monogamous. Well, men struggle to be monogamous as it is. You think a man with women throwing them at themselves, even normal men struggle to be monogamous. It's just a fact of life. A man who has attractive women throwing themselves at them on a day-to-day, everyday basis. I mean, I'm just going to keep it real. Good luck with that. Okay, well, see, the thing is, I'm not hating on any standards. Personally, I mean, if that's your standards, A. what I'm about to talk about is the unrealistic nature of the standards and women's inability, not women in general. Whenever I talk, but women in general, okay. Especially if you're a woman who's part of TYT, I'm not at all including anything we talk about in this. You by default do not fit into this category. You are at an intelligence level that is a significant degree above the rest. So by default, you're not. I'm not talking about any woman that's a member of TYT, because none of the women I'm talking here would fit in the top, percentage of women who would, spend their time at TYT. But the thing is, you're 6 foot tall, okay, but you didn't need the $100,000 rich. You've at least got the understanding, okay, and did you make the 6 foot thing a criteria, or did it just happen to happen? Because the crazy thing is when you don't make it a minimum standard, it's actually more likely to happen because it just kind of happened, as opposed to you, disqualifying men ahead of time, based off some arbitrary something or another. Which then makes you look like a jerk, so that when you do, not you, but the majority of you look like a jerk, that even if you do meet the guy who meets your standards, women sometimes forget they got to meet the guy's standards too. It's amazing how many women sometimes seem to forget that. But all of this has all come about because society has been lying to women for 30 years, telling women that they can be single and hot and proud and run around, party animals, and party until they're 40 or 30, and save themselves so they found the perfect man, and they don't need to settle for any guy that's not perfect for them. Well, what's happened is we have a situation where 80% of the women are now competing with so few men, and then they're hitting 40 and 35, and they haven't met a partner yet, and they haven't had kids yet, and now they're trying to look. And all of a sudden they're realizing that, yeah, for a woman, getting laid as a woman is not an incredibly difficult thing to do. It just isn't. One of the reasons, and I could care less how frequently a woman sleeps with men, so this is not a personal dig on my part. This is not me judging women who like to enjoy having sex. Go for it. You do you. I could care less. In fact, I personally get turned on by strong women. So for me, it's kind of a turn on. Like, bad girls turn me on personally, but that is not like that for most men. And women, nice saving the jerk thing. Yeah, and the thing, but here's the key thing is it all comes down to what's the facts, and the facts are that they're studying now, and the unhappiest demographic in America right now are single women over 40 without kids, which is at its largest percentage of women in history, in modern American history. I.e., not only is it the least happy demographic, but it is a demographic that is growing drastically in size. So it's gone from being just a small minority to a size that's growing because women are waiting so long with such high expectations that they're basically setting themselves up for failure because they're not accepting the reality. And it's affecting men too. And so this is where I go out for in the defense of men part. It's not the in defense of men part to tell the women they have to date men. They don't. It's not to talk about how women are too emotional, because that's that's a whole other thing. They're not too emotional. They just prioritize emotions a little differently. Men are just as emotional. It's just the way we process problem solvings and emotions is differently, but the extremes and everything else is the exact same. It's just the kind of the the rails on the railroad track kind of go in a different route, but they all head to the same place. So no, men and women are just as emotional as each other. They just it's like the arms, just a little bit different way. But anyways, oh sorry. Go ahead. Okay, no, but those are the outliers, though. You are correct. And any woman who does not want kids and wants to put their careers and lives first, that's their choice. I am not criticizing any woman who wants to make that choice. She is free to make that choice, 100%. That's not the problem. The problem is with women who do want kids and then think that they can both put their careers first indefinitely and not have consequences for it. Because what's happening is so many women who did put their career first and wanted kids are starting to realize that, one, the older you get, the harder it is to have kids. The more chances there are that there are going to be health issues with the kids. And oh, by the way, it's just a sad fact of life that the older a woman gets, the less options she's going to have when finding a permanent lifetime partner in a man. It's, I'm not here to say whether that's the right or wrong thing. I'm just here to say that's how it is. Justified or not justified, that's just the truth. Men are either after older, like I'll use myself as an example, which I have the personal right to want to pursue and date who I want to date. Well, that's a good example there too. I can see from my from my perspective to give you. So, as a man, just as a woman has every right to date who she wants to date, right? Absolutely. As a man, I have every right to date who I want to date. Now, I have to be realistic in my options, or I may not have options. That's true. Well, me, I already married as a young man, and I've had my family. I've done the family thing because I got married when I wanted to get married, and I got to be, the young man, and I did it the traditional way. Now I married someone from a different country, which I'll be honest, because when I was young, I could not stand how American women behaved and would refuse to marry one. I'll be blunt. I wanted nothing to do with young American women, and frankly, for the most part, still don't. Though I have seen a increased level of maturity in some who've taken advantage of the education the internet provides. I have noticed a certain segment of younger females who have actually really driven with what can be accomplished with the internet, and I'm very impressed with how smart they are despite their young age. So what I, at this point, am looking for is either an older woman around my age who is not looking for a family, who is basically just like me, who's going to sit down and be a partner in life with me, and we're just kind of two wise old people. Or if I were to start it over, I could do a family one more time, but I would want to do it with a younger woman again. I would not want to do it with a woman in her 30s. I mean, that's just, I don't have the energy to be a full-time single dad again, or a full-time dad again. I don't have the energy to be, like, I would need a stay-at-home mom. I don't have the energy to be a stay-at-home dad. Like, I've done it once. I loved it. I loved being a father like that. I loved being the primary caregiver in a kid's life in many ways. I loved, but I've done that. If I do it again, it'll be in a much more of a supportive, kind of paternal role in the traditional sense, as opposed to the daddy playing all the time with you sense. And however that relationship may sound to someone on the outside, well, that's a very, misogynistic want of a relationship. Maybe it is, but I didn't say anyone had to provide me one. Nobody has to have that relationship with me. I'm not demanding any woman have that relationship with me. So I just want a relationship like that with a younger woman, or I want a common ground relationship with someone like me who's also older than me, and we can grow old together in that way. I'm happy either way, but what I do know I don't want is a woman who has basically made a lot of bad decisions in her life, wound up where she is now desperate, and is now looking to settle with me. Because the older woman that I'm talking about has made good life choices, and she's wound up where she is and is ready to relax and enjoy life because of her good life choices. And I'm under no obligation either to date somebody that I want to date. And it's interesting to me because I've made that argument before, and the amount of vitriol that I've been attacked with because I want to have the same rights to date who I want to date is just amazing to me. So, anyways, that's my opinion on the female gender is sitting somewhere around there, especially the American one, and it gets me in a lot of trouble. And I'm trying to figure out how much of it is because I don't communicate it well, and I'm trying to figure out how much of it is because maybe I am a sexist. And if it is because I'm a sexist, I don't want to continue to be a sexist. That's not my intent. Okay, so yeah, rephrase it. I mean, I guess, how did you hear that? And let me see if I communicated it the right way. Yeah, if I got myself in trouble with you, I hope not. How did you hear it, and what did you hear, and how did I communicate it? Let me see if first you heard what I was trying to say, and if you did, let me see if I can figure out why you're upset. Oh, no. She didn't make a bad life choice for waiting. That's not why she made a bad life choice. It's the women who held out for Tom Cruise and kept holding out for Tom Cruise for so long that now they're trying to get a hold of anybody, because if they don't have kids soon, they're not going to have kids at all. That's different than somebody wanting to wait for a good partner and being reasonable about it. From what you've communicated to me, you're not doing anything unreasonable. There's a difference. And that's what I'm saying. About a woman has the right to choose who they want to date, and it's okay to have standards. There's nothing wrong with having standards. I would expect a woman to have standards. My argument, or the point I'm trying to make, is I think some women, with women on the aggregate, actually that some being a lot of women, have unrealistic standards. The kind of man that you've talked about and I've heard you talk about before, I don't think you're unrealistic. I've seen you talk about men before in chat. I've never heard you talk about any man and what you want in a man that is unreasonable. But you haven't talked with the women that I've talked with and seen some of the discussions that I've discussed. And there are some women out there, some very unrealistic expectations. I've never heard you say that you're holding out for a multi-millionaire who's going to buy you your own yacht for your birthday, and anyone who can't afford that is not worth your time. That's the kind of woman I'm talking about. Let me try to catch up here too. Yeah, military men are not the best men to date. I'm speaking as one, for a variety of reasons, and it's not all because military men are bad men. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad you're happy. I think there's nothing. I wish more women would realize that the key to happiness is not wealth. Wealth will not make you happy. I'm a firm believer that family makes you happy. 100%. Family and friends is where you find happiness. Period. The end. You know, I know having money helps, and being utterly poor certainly makes things harder. But there's a certain point where not only does wealth not make things any better, it actually makes it harder to find family and friends, because you don't know who's actually there to be your family and friend or who's there just because of your money. I just need the mountains and the fan. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm out here and I'm pretty open. I'll never tell people exactly where I live, but I'm in the western part of Virginia. Not West Virginia, the western part of the state of Virginia. And I love it. Mountains, forest. I'm not saying I'll live here forever. And part of me does sometimes miss the more wilder, kind of busier areas of the world, but I have everything I need. In fact, it's funny you're talking about this because me and I'll comment to what you were saying in a second, Knight Rider. By the way, I just haven't gotten the chance to yet. Knight Rider and I were just talking about that earlier. Actually, money. We don't know what it is about people thinking that that fifth yacht is going to make you happy, or the car collection. And at the end of the day, like, I have a nice house in a nice neighborhood. I mean, it's upper middle class in terms of quality of what I live in. I was telling him earlier, in terms of my personal wealth, just open with people about it. Between my investments I've paid off almost all of my houses, because I would buy, when I was in the Army, I'd buy a house and I'd move, and then I'd buy it when I move, and I'd use my VA. So I'd buy it, and then it would be treated at an interest rate like a single family property and everything else. So, but then I'd rent it when I left. And the military is being in the military is kind of one of those rare. It's one of those unwritten benefits that you get from being in the military. And so I've paid most of them off by this point. So I get rental income from those. I've got my medical retirement, which is tax-free. And then I get some money from dividends from the stocks. But actually the stock market, out of all the places I put my money, the stock market is the worst. Not because I've lost money, but the cash-on-cash returns there just suck. But I'm not super wealthy in the sense that I don't have like multiple millions of dollars like sitting around, like just sitting there. But my income every month, the reason why I'm able to support so much TYT so much and other streamers so much, and I'm able to put out send money out and help people out so much, and I spend so much money on other people, is because I don't work for my money. It comes from my medical retirement. And in order to make the amount of money I make on a medical retirement in the civilian sector, I probably need somewhere between $10 to $20 million sitting in an account. But I make about $5,000 a month, tax-free, somewhere around there. But I don't go to work because it's all medical retirement, and it'll be there for the rest of my life, no matter what. So I don't know exactly, so there's no eating into it. Like with the 401k, you eat into your money. So yeah, you might make $5,000 a month once you start getting into your 401k, but that's not indefinite. Eventually, if you live long enough, your 401k is going to run out. So if you really want to take a like on like equivalent, it's got to be an interest coming out that's not taking principal out of your account. And so we're talking $5-10 million to be able to do that, with it not being a high risk investment. Anyways, but despite all that, I live like upper middle class. I mean, I live on this nice little mountain area. My house is one of the smallest houses in the neighborhood. I love my neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I have one of the smallest houses in it. I play video games every day, and I have pretty much everything I ever want in life. I have DoorDash, I have TYT, and that is why, and every spare anything else I get that I don't need, I donate to progressives, I donate to TYT, I donate to streamers. I do it to make other people's lives a little better, because I don't need it. And that's why it dumbfounds me when I see people hoarding and just the horrible things they'll do to other people for money. And I can honestly say, yes, I have it, and I don't do, I don't know. And that's why I get angry, because I know better. And I know money doesn't buy happiness, and I know that there's no reason for it, which tells me that these people who have money are basically by default too irresponsible to have it. It's almost like if you have so much money, you're living like that, like these mansions, you are basically too irresponsible to have it, because it should be a point where once you hit a certain amount of wealth, and you're at a certain level of comfort, you should be providing leadership to the rest of society to help them improve and live comfortable lives too. And if you're not doing that, it means you are too immature to be at that position of power and wealth in the first place, is how I look at it. Am I babbling, or did I make sense when I said any of that? Yeah, I've donated to her before. Are they still looking for donations? Hit me up at the end of the month. I've got all my donation money is done this month, Hippie Mama. So I basically have a separate account for all my donation stuff that I do. And in fact, I forgot to pay my TYT bill this month. So I still owe my TYT bill. So, but hit me up at the end of the month, and I absolutely would love to support her. Just remind me on the 29th. Exactly, Night Righty. That's a great way to phrase it. I didn't think about it like that, but that's a great way to phrase it. Everybody wants to talk about rights. Nobody wants to talk about responsibilities. When you have that much fucking wealth and power, it's not just about your rights. It's about your responsibilities to the rest of society. You have a responsibility. If you're going to be in a position of power, with power comes responsibility. Did they not watch Spider-Man? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know. It is a shame on me. I'm like the top exec or whatever. I don't know. I've been paying them whatever the top is. I think it's $100 a month. Whatever the top level is, I've been paying that for God knows how many years though. So I think they can forgive me being late 1 month. Were you really? That's so funny, Knight Rider. Yeah. Give me more details, because first off, I remember getting mentioned once by Anna on TYT, and I donated. And to be honest, that's the extent I followed up with it. So if you can get me more information, and what I'll do too is on the 29th or the first stream I do after the 29th, I'll actually donate online with it too, to kind of help encourage. You know, it's kind of like people see you doing it, they're more likely to do it too. So I'll do it online. I'll do the donation online, kind of show people, hey, I'm donating too. I'm not just asking you to do something I won't do. So I'm all about anything, especially when it comes to helping the TYT family. We got to stick together. Well, I've had a freaking awesome conversation, but I'm also getting tired. Because one thing I have noticed is talking wears me out a lot more than writing. It's funny. But I've really enjoyed it. And usually, normally I'll be ending streams at 10 anyways, but I started late with some trouble, so that's why I went later than normal. But hey, I'm going to be around tomorrow. I would absolutely love to continue this conversation with the both of you. If you're not around tomorrow, some other time. But basically, this kind of conversation we're having tonight, and we've been having, this is exactly the kind of conversation that I want to be having on these stream. They don't always have to be super serious, but just talking about serious issues. If people want to bullshit about just everyday stuff, there's streams out there. They can do that all over the place. And as great as TYT is, and it is amazing, it's not really a place where chat and the host can have a discussion. They bring people on, but it's still more of a show, like a TV show kind of thing. Whereas I would really more like this to be kind of like a discussion with chat, where chat can talk together, and I can, in that kind of level, like we've been having. So, anyways, this is what I'm trying to do with the channel, or the stream. So the more of this, the better. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. And what was the last thing I'm seeing you right here? Sorry, some stuff's coming in. All right, that sounds great. Thanks, Night Raider. Awesome. And let me just see this. I heard you say something about leaving a link. Hold on one sec. No, it's no. You don't have to explain anything. I don't think you understand. I literally give over half of my income away every month to like just other things, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm not. It's because the government gives me money for being on disability. Like, so I'm trying to say like it's not about bragging. Like, oh, I have so much money to give. No, like I have money to give because I had PTSD and an alcoholic, and I was all fucked up. And when I needed a hand up, the VA and America and Americans were there with through the VA system and the military medical retirement system to help me. So I know I know what it's like to be at rock bottom, and when I needed a hand up, it was there, and I couldn't go back. As much as it may seem like it, there's no way in a million years I could go back to work right now. I can never work for another corrupt corporate human being again. I couldn't. It's not possible. Could you imagine me working for, you guys know my personality. How long do you think I'd last dealing with a corrupt corporate bastard trying to tell me what to do? It wouldn't last very long. You know what I mean? So, anyways, it's been great. Hope to see you guys tomorrow. It'll be 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I get 9 Pacific, and it's been awesome. Let's see. I guess I gotta quit the game first here, and I'll just run around as a shark. It seems to be easy to talk and eat as a shark at the same time. I don't even know what I did the last. Talking with you guys, I know I did. What I did in the game the last like freaking hour and a half, I actually have no clue. I vaguely remember running around and eating stuff, but I was having too much fun or enjoying the conversation too much, so I barely know what I was doing. So, let me go ahead. And about 2. Oh, can you guys stick around and let me see if I can raid somebody? I keep forgetting that raiding is such a big deal in the Twitch community. Honestly, even if you don't wind up sticking around after I raid, just showing up and them seeing that I'm supporting their channel would at least be helpful. And maybe you'll like them. Maybe you'll see something you like. But let me see if there's anyone on even that I know to raid first off. Yeah, I guess we can help a brother out. Honestly, I don't know this guy very well, but he's the only one I know who's on, and so I'll throw him a raid. Maybe one day he'll throw one in the future. He's playing a sports game. I mean, honestly, just stop in and say hello. I wouldn't feel obligated to stay there very long. But if you maybe just stop in and say hi, so I can, just let the fellow streamers know I'm doing my part to the best of my ability. I would appreciate it. Yeah, and hey, you may like it. You may love it. He does. Looks like I've seen him play a lot of FIFA sports for soccer, which might be interesting. But what I started watching him was when he was doing first-person shooters. But apparently, I think he normally does those. I just got lucky catching him one time. He normally does it those when I'm sleeping. I mean, usually it's soccer when I'm awake. Just give me 1 second. I'm getting ready to do it in just a second. All right, once again, it's Night All. I had tons of fun. Thank you.